Alright everybody, here's a quick rig rundown of what I'm using these days. Just changed my board thanks to Easter. So today I'm playing through this sweet Squire Jagmaster that I got for super cheap. And in case I show you my hands, they're all painted black thanks to painting this board. But this is what I'm using so far. So this is my direct in board. There's a DI box under here. It's the Pro D2 by Radial. So that's that, and that's my Altoids tin with my picks in it. That is the end of the signal, but usually these don't start at the end of the signal, they start at the beginning. So here is the beginning of my signal cable coming into the side of this modded DVP4. It was modded by Schnobeltone. You can check him out on Instagram, he's dope. What he did was he put this Polytune, I think it's the Mini, inside of it. So these jacks on the side go through just the tuner, and the jacks on the top are still the volume pedal. So I can tune, polytune, obviously, or tune up individual West string, and it's all there kept inside of my volume pedal, which is super dope. Audio goes through the tuner, out from the tuner, into the Tumnus. So now we'll start doing some sounds. Here's the sound of the guitar, clean through the HX Stomp. I'll get to more of what I'm doing with the HX Stomp when we get there. So that's my clean signal. Here is the sound of the Tumnus. A little bit of drive, I like it. Nice first stage. And then I have the Dunes by Earthquaker. It's like a Tube Screamer clone. I don't normally ever use it without the Tumnus also on, so here's the sound of that. Real good. After the Dunes, we have this handmade Small Sound Big Sound Mini clone. A guy made it on Reverb and I bought it from him. If you're out there, thanks bro, this thing is legit. So here's what that sounds like. Sometimes I'll stack all three of these, but for right now, I usually do either or. So here's the sound without and then with. So here's just a real quick difference between the Dunes and the Mini. I don't know if you can tell on the iPhone speaker the difference, but here it is. Honestly, it's hard for me to tell the difference without being through the PA. The Dunes is definitely more mid-presence, and this is more scooped a little bit. So to poke out in the mix, I'll use the Dunes more. Here's what they sound like, all three of them together stacked on. Cool. Then I've got the Earthquaker Organizer. Love this pedal so much. It is the go-to for making lead lines better. Oops. It's obviously an octave pedal. It's got a little bit of extra modulation in there that I personally love. Definitely colors the sound though, if you're not into that. Then we got the Rainbow Machine. Using it for the classic chorus sound that everybody uses it for. I actually would probably have it a little bit more present than that. It's somewhere in between there. I'm not going to fiddle with it right now. But you get it. It's a chorus sound made from two different pitched delays, excuse me. I normally only use that clean, has the magic switch, barely ever use that. So it goes out of the Rainbow Machine into, again, the volume pedal. Now I have the volume pedal so that I can swell my super overdriven sound and my octave sound, actually. So here's like off. But that way, even when my volume pedal's down, I still got all that overdrive on, it's just quieter. And then that goes out from here into the HX Stomp. I really wanted to use the stereo amps from the HX Stomp, so that's why I didn't put the volume pedal after the amp sound. Perfect world, I'd use a stereo volume pedal and do that too. Right now I've been running this AC30 and Deluxe patch that I made. I haven't even tried IRs yet. Everyone tells me to try them, so I'm gonna do that soon. But right now it's running, I'm not sure which side's which. One side is the AC30 and one side is the Fender Deluxe, HX Stomp clones, and those are running in 2 IRs. I'm using the stock IRs, like I said. That's running into an EQ on there that I use just to shape that sound a little bit. And then I've got 3 snapshots. Let me just turn the toughness off again. So that's clean. That's snapshot 1. Snapshot 2 has a little bit more gain. And then snapshot 3 has, the gain's not dimed, but it's pretty close, and it's got a little bit of a volume boost as well. So there's that. It's a pretty simple patch, nothing crazy going on. Good audio's going out of there into the Echo system, which is a great delay pedal. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I use a couple patches. This is my pretty much go-to normal patch. It's 2 different tape delays. There's a little bit of modulation on them. This particular one is a serial delay, so it's a quarter note going into a dotted eighth note. But they're using slightly different tape engines from in there. The tape algorithm is so good. It just sits under your playing in the mix. Provides a really nice wash. And then the other one that I normally would use on there is a digital one and an analog. I think it's the digital quarter note running into an analog dotted eighth, which is a great sound, and it's the sound that I used to use when I was using a DD7 and a Deluxe Memory Boy. And that sounds like this. So it's a lot more, prominent. So that's for when there's lead parts that need it, or like I just did Glorious Day like that, with the more prominent strumming delay part. I've got the Sailor Quartz over here. That's running tap tempo for Echo System, but it's doing it over MIDI clock. HX Stomp receives MIDI clock too from that. And so does the reverb actually. And I also send a tap out to my other guitarists so that we're all synced up exactly to the click. And then we're all synced together in case we don't have click. But that is a super awesome pedal. Then audio goes from the Echo System into the reverb. Here's a couple of different sounds that I'm using on the reverb. This is just my almost no reverb. It's on the hall setting, super simple. My next sound is the plate sound. This is what I actually end up using most of the time. It's got a little bit under there. Again, I like the reverb and Echo System to sit under the mix, or not under the mix, under what I'm playing, so that it's not getting in the mix. That's what I'm trying to say. And then I've got a couple other patches on there. It just gets progressively better and better. The Ghost is what I'm using next on there. And then out of the reverb into the ER box, and that's audio. Let's talk about MIDI really quick. MIDI is all coming from the MC6. I've got 2 main banks that I'm using right now. The first one is this one, up, down, play, click, stop, and stop tracks. That's just so that I can control Ableton while we're performing. But this bank is what's controlling the board as of right now. MIDI's going from the MC6 into the Quartz, into a Empress MIDI box under the board, and that's going into the Echo System and reverb. And then out of the MIDI box that's under the board into the HX Stomp. So I don't have much going on with MIDI right now. I've got a couple presets here. That's just changes the Echo System and reverb. Again, another bank for that. But what I'm gonna start doing is really diving in, seeing how I can get some good sounds out of specifically changing the HX Stomp and those at the same time. And then of course I've got a up and down for the, you can't even see that because of the glare. Maybe you can. it changes the banks on the quartz over here. Which I don't usually use that because usually live I'm running it, running the Ableton stuff, but that's okay. And then this is an external switch that I made for the MC6. It's not working yet, not completely. I have the top buttons on this mapped to banking up on the ecosystem and reverb, and the bottom buttons do work. I don't have them mapped to anything. And the middle buttons I haven't gotten even to work yet, so I'm still working on how that's gonna work properly. Let's see, is there anything else? I think that's it. Oh, the whole thing's being powered by a True Tone, the Spot Pro or Pro Spot, whatever it's called, CS12. That's powering the Stomp too. I have a little adapter cable. I can't believe that I'm powering all of this on one power supply, especially with the Stomp and the Reverb and Ecosystem needing special stuff, but it's really, really good. I took a compressor off my board to make this one, to make this version of my board. I don't know how I'll feel about that yet. I gotta play it live a couple times, see how that feels. But this is it. It's so good. So, yeah. Here's one little last strum of what I got. This is my favorite sound. I was just running this. You run it when you run the drives into a slightly cranked amp. Whew, it sounds so good. So here's that. Thanks, y'all.